Can we make real tasting cheese without dairy? Let's find out on this first episode of Will It Cheese. Hello friends and not yet friends, welcome back to Mary's Test Kitchen, where this new series uses traditional methods of making dairy cheese for our own nefarious plant-based purposes. Which vegan ingredients will be best? Speaking of the best vegan ingredients, I've gotta thank Complement, who are all about helping you thrive on a plant-based diet. And they're helping me bring this episode to you. But more on them later because I've gotta soak today's ingredient. Will it be the classic vegan cheese-making darlings like cashews or almonds? In this economy? Of course not. Let's start with the humble peanut. Peanuts have similar amounts of fat and protein but less carbs when compared to cashews. I think that could be a good thing. Even better that they are way more affordable. Due to our previous peanut yogurt and peanut tofu experiments, you may already know it will not come out tasting like peanut butter. Raw peanuts are super mild, not at all like roasted peanuts. They're kinda plain and woody tasting. If you know, you know. Can that be transformed by our cheese making process? Let's have a taste after soaking them overnight. So far, still bland and woody, but also crispy. Reminds me of the texture of radishes. Out of curiosity, I just want to know how much water these peanuts soaked up. I'll blend half of these at a time with plenty of water. On high speed in the Vitamix for 30 seconds. Don't worry if you don't have such a high-powered blender. You'll probably just need to tack on an extra minute or two. Let's run this liquid through my trusty nut milk bag to make silky raw peanut milk. One advantage of using raw peanuts is that they're fairly easy to strain. Compared to cashews, pumpkin seeds, even soy, raw peanut milk requires a lot less elbow grease. The peanut fiber, aka the peanut pulp, is very fluffy, similar to coconut milk pulp, and I found that you can use it just like coconut flour in baking too, so I'm gonna save mine so I can keep working on my vegan keto cookies, muffins, and the like. Nothing perfect enough to share yet, but fingers crossed. After repeating the milk making process with the remaining peanuts, we have this big pot of raw peanut milk. I internally debated keeping it raw, but with home-based fermentation, so many things can go wrong. Knowing that thousands of people might watch this video, and hopefully more if you'll like and share it, hint hint, I decided to play it safe and cook the milk. You know, I love to live dangerously, but not when there's a potential for disgusting mold and other badness, which is why I sterilized everything that's going to touch the milk and curds for this project just as best as I can. Don't worry, it's not that complicated, it's mostly just boiling everything, but I'll explain more thoroughly in the blog post linked in the description. In dairy cheese making, cow's milk can be used raw to make traditional cheeses like Parmesan Reggiano, my pre-vegan favorites Gruyere and Emmental, and even some mozzarella is made with raw milk. The salt and acid in them act as a preservative, but in modern systems, you'll find a lot is pasteurized for safety as well. All the mass market cheeses in these store shelves are made with pasteurized milk. But back to our plant-based pasteurization, check it out. The starch in the peanut milk is causing it to become thicker and thicker as it cooks. In dairy cheese making, specific bacterium in starter cultures are added so that the milk will sour in a predictable and tasty way. I'm gonna do the same here, but with vegan probiotics. Except it's way too hot right now. It would kill our starter before we even start. So I'll just add this splatter guard over the top to make sure no dust or anything falls in while I wait. Actually, I honestly got a little bit busy and it's been a couple hours. But it is still a little warm to the touch, and that is actually perfect. I do want it to be warm enough for the probiotics to multiply, feed on the starches in the milk, and start producing lactic acid. I'll just use a random vegan probiotic capsule, open it up to sprinkle in the powder, and stir well. You can also use store-bought vegan yogurt if it contains live cultures, and of course, old batches of your own homemade yogurt. You can also go so far as to make your own probiotic culture from sprouted grains like in my old tutorial for quinoa Rejuvilac or wheatberry Rejuvilac. They will impart their own specific flavors which can be fascinating to explore too. But especially if you're just starting your plant-based cheese-making journey, one of these store-bought capsules is a really easy and reliable choice. Speaking of an easy and reliable choice, our sponsor today, Complement, is helping me embark on another experiment. They're a science-based nutrition company by plant-based eaters for plant-based eaters. So, sorry, Susie, not for you. A few weeks ago, I switched over to the Complement Essentials, as well as I started to try a couple of their other products. But just to back up previously, the reason why I switched over, I've been thinking about it for a really long time, to be honest. I like the idea, the convenience of just having my supplements with a meal, as well as for the past few years, I've actually been trying to take a vegan DHA supplement regularly. I've tried different brands. They're all kind of oceany. I tell myself it's not a big deal, but if it was not a big deal, why can't I take it every day? Like, why can't I remember to? But since I switched to Complement, I remember to because it's just a part of my meals. These pills actually have just a light mintiness to them, so it goes down really easy. As well as included in here, there's the all-important vitamin B12 that we all need, vitamin D3 plus K2, which most of us need, as well as it has a few other things, but basically they have done the science to figure out what plant-based eaters really need and put them in here and not extra fluff that we probably get in our plant-based diets. I also love that it comes in a bag that's 100% biodegradable and compostable. They also have a number of other products for specific needs. So I haven't started this one yet. I started with this. I'm gonna do it for like a month or two and see how it goes, like so that I can see if there's any difference. That's just how I want to do it. Plus I want to check in with my doctor to make sure that the iron that's in here is right for me. They also have Restore for sleep support. They have Gut Nurture for gut support. Daily Greens. Sometimes I will feel the need for this, but as you can see from my grocery haul, I've got the greens covered for quite some time. But I do appreciate that this is a greens powder that actually tastes pretty nice. It's just ever so lightly sweet and it tastes like apples. So I really like it. And I always hear great things about them from my friends, like their protein powder. I heard that this is the best tasting protein powder on the market. And I was really sus about that claim, but I have to agree. It really is good. It tastes like just not weird. And they've got the B12 spray if that's all you think you need. It tastes really good. Now, this is something that I won't really need since I'm taking the Complement Essentials already that has B12, but it tastes really good. Like, you will never forget to take your B12. I've pretty much tried mostly all their products and I love them, except one thing we can try together, Complement Creatine. I've been wanting to try this since it's one of the most researched supplements, and this particular one is supposed to be the best. Creatine has been known to support cognitive health. I'm gonna put a heaped teaspoon in there. It supports ATP production, which is important for your mitochondria, AKA like it's important for energy. And I am interested in it supporting my athletic performance and recovery. It's supposed to support muscle growth as well. I mean, like, I guess that's gonna be a side benefit. I feel like I'm someone who puts on muscle really easily. When I'm consistent, but I haven't really been. I mean, it's spring and I haven't longboarded. Oh yeah, so this is all because I really want some support as I go into the longboarding season this year. I have really not been consistent in the winter. You know, there's gravel all over the sidewalks. It's cold, it snows every so often. It kind of sucks. Consider this the day one of our creatine experiment. Oh wow, that really tastes like nothing. I should have put the greens in for like flavor, at least. Day one down, I'll let you know how things go. We'll see if it's essential for me to reorder that. And speaking of reordering, Complement is giving you guys 15% off with my coupon code MARY, M-A-R-Y. So if you are also taking charge of your plant-based nutrition this spring, I suggest checking out Complement Essentials to start out with. And use the link in the description below or up on the corner here. But back to the experiment at hand. I've actually been letting this pot of peanut milk with the probiotic mixed in there sit at room temperature for 24 hours. Here on day 2, you can see there's a little clear whey sitting at the top. Let's do a tiny taste test. I'm not expecting it to be very sour right now. I think we need more than 24 hours, but let's just find out. Nope, it's tangy all right. There's a little bit of a woodiness from the raw peanuts. But yes, it is tangy. I would like it to be tangier. I meant to let this sit for another day, but I tested it again the same night when it was too dark to shoot. So I actually put it in the fridge until the next day. So this is day 3. So let's see how sour. Let's go for the whey first. And I'll drop into a little cup before I taste test. Oh, the whey is quite tangy. It hits the back of the sides of the cheeks. You know that feeling? It's nice. Let's go into the curd. I just want a small taste test. Okay, let's go for it. It's very tangy, very creamy. It still has a distinct peanut flavor. Not a roasted peanut flavor, a raw peanut flavor, even though the milk was cooked. You know, I feel like it's creamier than when we did the 24-hour test and the 36-hour test. So we have a bunch. I wonder what would happen if we pressed this into a block. So I've boiled some cheesecloths. Did I overfill it? Maybe. I really did overfill it, guys. Oh man. There's a lot of pressure going on in there. I'm scared. I'm a little nervous about the sounds it's making. But I'm gonna go ahead and just put this in the fridge, leave it overnight to press, and then we'll see what we get in the morning. Now we have a bunch of leftover. It's been a minute and I have an idea, but it requires a little bit more liquid. So I just brought this out from the fridge. As you can see, some whey has separated. And the whey is sour, so it's going to give my idea some extra tang. So let's go for 120. And then a few things from my pantry. First, with glutinous rice, because I have 4 different containers of it in my cupboards. Wait, I changed my mind. I'm doing the flavorings first. I'm just winging it, friends. Some sliced green olives in brine, 1 heaping tablespoon, half a teaspoon of nutritional yeast, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt before blending it all together to see where we're at on flavor. Keep in mind the flavors usually get toned down after cooking. It's tangy, it's funky, definitely have the peanut taste. Needs more salt and nutritional yeast. And blend. Okay. This is giving like Violife cheese vibes, which makes sense because they put olives in their cheese as well. Right, now I'm going to go in with my thickening agents, that is the glutinous rice flour. I'm thinking 4 tablespoons of the flour. That's 8 grams. Ooh. This brand, it's the Telephone brand from Thailand. I'll leave a link in the description if you need to find this one, but I have tried other agar-agars and this one's the best. But I've put it in here and I'm going to add 1 teaspoon. 1 teaspoon is 2 grams. It's all mixed up and it's time to go to the stove. Time to clean all of this stuff first. I've changed my mind again. Before we get to cooking, I'm going to add one more thing to our mixture. I'm going to add a tablespoon of oil to this. It's been a while since I've made my cultured, grateable vegan mozzarella, but I feel as though I usually put more oil. I just have this feeling, I don't really remember. Could I just grab my phone and check? Yeah, but it's like all the way at the other side of the room, guys. Basically what I'm saying is too late for me. All right, let's get the stove up. I'm just gonna heat this up until the glutinous rice cooks through. It'll get goopy. Then so thick that stirring becomes a real workout. It starts to pull away from the sides as if you were making pâte de choux or choux pastry. I'm getting concerned that it's not getting mixed well enough and the inner mixture might not be cooked through, so I'm bringing in the big guns. I mean the immersion blender. Okay, it looks like we're good. I mean, I just tasted it and it doesn't have any raw rice taste. It was only a few minutes. So I'll turn off the heat and I'll just stir this until it stops bubbling. Well, actually, I've got to go run to get a container for this because it might set up really quickly. Nope, I changed my mind. I want a smaller container. How about that? If you went and put this on pizza right now, I'm sure it would be good. I'm gonna let this cool some and then I'm gonna pop on the lid and then I'm gonna put it in the fridge. And then tomorrow we will see 2 different forms of peanut cheese, maybe. All right, friends, the moment of truth. Wow, it's really stuck. Let's get this out of here. There's a little bit of whey left over. I'll actually pour that out. The liquid in these 2 jars are actually the whey that I poured out while the peanut foo was in the fridge being pressed. Actually, let's do a whey taste test. It's actually not as sour as I anticipated. It's less sour than it was. It has less of a distinctly peanut flavor than before. It really reminds me of that quinoa rejuvenac. My guess is that you could take this to inoculate your next batch. That's just my guess. Anywho, all right, so let's get this on a cutting board. It's stuck to the knife. It just doesn't want to let go. There. It really is giving cream cheese. So let's taste it. The texture, the mouthfeel is giving cream cheese. There's a tang there. Have you had Winnipeg style cream cheese? I feel it's like that. However, you really do have a strong, woody, raw peanut flavor. Let me try that with salt, actually. Oh, wow. That is truly luxurious. You still have the funky flavor. The level of fermentation hasn't changed very much. However, the texture is totally different. It's reminding me of creme fraiche or creme fraiche. However you pronounce that. I'm gonna put this on some bread. A test for real life. The texture is unbelievable. If we stopped here, this peanut cheese test would be a roaring success already, but I have other plans. First, using clean, freshly washed hands, I'm gonna sprinkle salt all over the sides of these blocks. Good to get this side and that side. And this is just gonna prevent anything from growing, any pathogens, because there's actually yeast and bacteria in the air itself. So I have 1 salted block. With 2 blocks salted on all sides, we're obviously going to do 2 different tests. Since I have a dehydrator, 1 will go in there. For the other, I'm going to put it on this container lid. have a couple of chopsticks, like so, and then just pop a lid on. And so this will allow for some air circulation while still protecting the cheese developing. Like so. And don't mind these boxes, they're just my favorite tofu at the moment. I just decided to keep the boxes because they look cute. And we'll wait and see. For me, it's going to be 24 hours. For you, it'll be a minute. It's been 20 hours and 5 minutes. Turn off the dehydrator. But let's take a look at the air-dried cheese first. Here it is, all protected. And the top still feels damp. You can see the edges are a bit dry. The texture is bouncy. What I'm going to do is flip it over. I'm going to salt it and then flip it over. And let's just get salt everywhere. As I said before yesterday, flaky salt is probably not the way to go because it's not going to stick as well as a fine salt. And I want it to be quite evenly on all the surfaces. As you could see, the salt from yesterday has already absorbed into the surface. I don't know if you can see it. There's just a slight where it's like a creamy white color, and then there's like kind of an almost pinky color, and I want to cut that part off. And then with this side, I'm going to salt it as well. I'm actually going to go in and taste a little bit because I don't think anything has changed, but let's just see so we can compare between the air dried and the dehydrator version. There we go. So that'll be for our air dried taste test. And I'll put this back onto our lid, chopsticks, cover, and I'll check on it tomorrow. Next, let's check out our dehydrated version. Immediately, I'm seeing the same issue. One's end, it looks nice, perfect in fact. The other side, there's a little bit of discoloration. So I'm going to cut that end off as well. The whole end, it's only discolored on one side. And the other side looks fine. So I'm just going to cut off a slice, give it a taste test. I will also want to flip this one. First, salt this as well. Now, this has already formed a dry skin, so I don't really know if this salt will stick very well. I'm going to pop this back in the dehydrator with the cut side facing the fan, and I will turn it every 12 hours. Air dried, dehydrated. I'm going to try this one first. It's much sharper than it was. The thing about cultured cheese, you think it just goes sharper and sharper and sharper and sharper, but that's not always the case. After a while, it can mellow out, develop more complex flavors. Let's try the air dried one. Much more mild. It's retaining that cream cheese quality. Like very thick, very dense cream cheese like Philly. The air dried one though, it really is already tasting pretty freaking good. I'm gonna add a little salt. It really is getting there. I cannot wait to try it tomorrow.
But before that, remember our cooked stretchy cheese? Let's see if it's set overnight.
Oh, that's not sliceable. And remember, this stretches from the glutinous rice. I guess I didn't use enough agar-agar to set it completely. But the texture is so... it's honestly so fun.
Let's give it a proper taste test.
When it's cold, it has a strong olive flavor, so I'd reduce the olives next time. But when hot, it has a perfect, mildly funky and tangy flavor. Perfect in this grilled cheese. But it's lost a lot of that visual pull in the process. Still, I'm looking forward to putting this on pizza. And seeing how our other cheeses have firmed and developed. It's been 2 days of air drying and this cheese is looking, well, drier. Especially around the edges. Again, I had to cut off a little discoloration from one side. The dehydrated version, well, is even more dry. You can tell by the color change. All sides look good, except this long one. There's a bit of discoloration despite me turning the cheese every few hours. Perhaps I wasn't thorough enough with the salt. Regardless, I'm going to cut that part off. Not all of it was discolored though, so I'll trim a little bit of the good part to taste. So on this side, we have the air dried, and this side we have the dehydrated. It's actually sharper. It's like a mouth-watering sharpness. It's actually really good. The woody raw peanut flavor is less. Let's try the dehydrated. Wow, that's giving cheddar with a little hint of woodiness in the background. Everything I said about the air dried exists for this one, except that it's not as tangy. It's still sharp, but not as sour. Like it's giving more funk, it's giving more cheese. Wow, I like it. After salting all the sides again, I put the dehydrator batch back in the dehydrator, and the air-dried version is going in the fridge. All right, my friends, it has been 23 and a half hours. Just turn that off. I've pulled out the cheese from the fridge. No tasting, just flipping and salting both blocks and transferring them to smaller containers so they can develop the rest of the way in the fridge. I'll be flipping them every day so they can dry evenly, and salting every other day to imbue them with saltiness but also to prevent any mold from gaining a foothold for several days. And then, my friends, it is the moment of truth. Interestingly, the dehydrated block is oily on the outside. I'm going to use this sterilized cheesecloth to dab up the excess oil from here. Or our other cheese, which I'll also dab off because there is some moisture on the bottom. I think next time I'm going to use like one of those sushi bamboo rolling mats and then like cut it to size, and maybe that'll help out because we really are retaining the moisture on the bottom side. Enough looking, more tasting. Starting with our purely air-dried block. At first bite, it doesn't seem too different, but as it kind of melts in the mouth, you can taste the tanginess that hits the back of the cheeks and funkiness. It's giving super sharp cheddar level of funk and, well, sharpness. There's also a bit of earthiness that reminds me of Gruyere, but just a touch. At the same time, there's still a little bit of that woody peanut flavor that isn't so cheese-like, and I don't love it as much. As I sliced further into the block, the taste was a bit milder and texture softer, so it makes sense to me that it hasn't dried all the way, and I'm wishing that I aged it longer. Having it on bread really takes it up a notch too. After that, I was doubly excited to try the dehydrated version. The texture is much more firm, especially around the edges. Not quite as solid as a firm cheese like cheddar, but a lot closer than the previous one. It's completely different, guys. My friends, peanuts really can cheese. The flavor is a bit more mellow, less tangy, while still being quite sharp, like hit you in the cheeks sharp. And the flavor is more complex. It has even more of that earthy Gruyere quality that I detected earlier. Much less, almost indetectable level of that peanut woodiness. Then on bread, my friends, you've got to try this. Wow, dreams are being made right now. If you have a dehydrator, you gotta utilize it for this. Shoot, why spend all that money on cashews and almonds when you can make this amazing vegan cheese with peanuts? Either of these, all three of these actually. So that is the first episode of Will It Cheese, sponsored by Compliment. Please don't forget to check them out, grab my coupon code MARY, use it at checkout for 15% off. Complement your plant-based diet with Complement Essential. Please let me know what you think of this new series in the comments below. Please leave all your suggestions and requests. This is a series for you, so I'm totally open to switching things up. For one, I'm thinking I need to stay out of the weeds for the next video, so it isn't 30 minutes long, but regardless, because of the long development time, the fermentation, I've got to start on the next one right away. So please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and bye for now.